Not everything sacred deserves an audience. Privacy is not about secrecy, it is about protecting your peace. There is a deep, unspoken beauty in keeping certain parts of your life untouched by the eyes and opinions of others. We live in a time where oversharing has become the norm, where people measure their worth through how much of their lives they can broadcast to the world. Every meal, every moment, every relationship is uploaded, and in doing so, we trade authenticity for attention. But what many fail to realize is that the more you expose, the less you own. The more you share, the less sacred your life becomes. The most powerful people are not the ones who speak the loudest, they are the ones who know what to keep quiet. When you start to value privacy, you start to understand that your peace grows in silence. Every time you reveal something precious, you invite interpretation, judgment, and energy from others that can easily disrupt what was once calm. People will project their fears, their jealousy, and their insecurities onto your life because that is what humans do. They analyze what they don't understand. You might think you are inspiring them, but often you are simply giving them something to talk about. And once your life becomes conversation, you lose control of your own narrative. You start to live not for yourself, but to prove yourself. Privacy protects you from that exhausting cycle. There is strength in mystery. When people don't know your next move, they can't predict it, they can't sabotage it, and they can't interfere with it. Silence is a shield. It protects your dreams while they are still growing, your plans while they are still forming, and your emotions while they are still healing. When you keep your goals private, you allow them to mature without external pressure. When you keep your relationships private, you allow them to breathe without the weight of other people's opinions. When you keep your healing private, you allow yourself to grow without performance. The world doesn't need to know every detail of your transformation. What matters is that you are becoming. Not everything sacred deserves an audience because not everyone clapping for you truly wants to see you win. Some are applauding out of habit, some out of curiosity, and some because they are waiting for you to fall. When you learn to hold back, you learn to protect your energy from those who disguise their envy as support. There is nothing wrong with being proud of your progress, but there is everything wrong with needing validation to believe in it. Real growth doesn't scream, it whispers. It happens quietly in the background, in moments where no one is watching, but everything is changing within you. Privacy also teaches discernment. It helps you understand who deserves access to your soul and who doesn't. Everyone does not earn the right to know your story. Some people cannot handle the depth of who you are. They will misunderstand your vulnerability, misuse your openness, and weaponize your truth. But when you choose privacy, you take back that power. You become the guardian of your story, deciding who gets to hear it and when. You learn that silence is not loneliness, it's control. It's the art of not letting everyone in, of preserving your energy for those who truly deserve it. In a world obsessed with constant visibility, choosing privacy is an act of rebellion. It's refusing to perform, refusing to explain, refusing to turn your life into a spectacle. It's understanding that not every chapter is meant for display. Some are meant for reflection, some are meant for protection, and some are meant just for you. Because the truth is, the moment you share too much, you give people the right to comment, to criticize, and to influence your path. They will start to shape your narrative in their image, and before you know it, you are living under their expectations instead of your own truth. When you keep things private, you create a safe space for authenticity to thrive. You no longer make choices to please others. You make them because they align with your spirit. You don't need applause because your validation comes from within. Privacy removes the need for performance. It reminds you that your worth isn't dependent on how visible you are, but on how true you remain when no one is watching. It gives you the freedom to be raw, to make mistakes, to grow in silence, and to evolve without explanation. The more you hold sacred moments close to your heart, the more meaning they carry. A dream nurtured in silence becomes stronger because it isn't diluted by doubt. A love protected from public eyes becomes deeper because it isn't burdened by performance. A personal victory kept private becomes more fulfilling because it belongs entirely to you. When you stop needing to share everything, you start to experience life fully. You start to live it, not display it. You begin to understand that your most powerful moments don't need witnesses, they need presence. So when you think about what you choose to share, ask yourself, is this for connection or for attention? Is this something sacred or something I just want validated? Because once it's out there, it's no longer yours alone. The most beautiful parts of your life will lose their essence the moment they become content for others to consume. Guard them, protect them. Let your silence speak volumes. Because privacy is not about hiding, it's about honoring what matters, giving your blessings the space to grow, and allowing your life to unfold without interruption. Protect your energy, not your image. When you start living for the eyes of others, you begin to lose yourself. The need to be seen, to be understood, to be admired, it consumes your peace. You begin to curate your life like a performance, editing your truth to fit into what looks perfect, what feels acceptable, what gains approval. But the moment your life becomes a show, your soul becomes the stage, and you invite the world to walk on it without boundaries. Protecting your energy means drawing a line between what nourishes you and what drains you. It means understanding that peace is far more valuable than perception, that your image is just what people think you are, but your energy, that is who you truly are. Every time you open your life to everyone, you open yourself to judgment, comparison, and energy that doesn't belong to you. People don't always watch with love. Some watch with envy, some with doubt, and some with the silent hope that you won't make it. When you give too much access to your life, you hand your peace over to people who haven't earned it. Protecting your energy means recognizing that not every question deserves an answer, not every compliment deserves a response, and not every curiosity deserves satisfaction. There are people who ask about your life not because they care, but because they crave information to feed their gossip. You owe them nothing. When you stop oversharing, you start reclaiming your power. You take control of your narrative instead of letting others define it. Protecting your energy doesn't mean isolating yourself, it means filtering who gets to enter your space. It means choosing peace over popularity, solitude over spectacle, authenticity over approval. When you protect your energy, you stop explaining your silence. You stop defending your decisions. You start living from a place of self-awareness instead of self-defense. Because when your focus shifts from maintaining your image to maintaining your energy, you finally begin to live freely. Your image is fragile. It depends on how people see you, but your energy is eternal. It depends on how you see yourself. Protecting your energy means refusing to perform for people who misunderstand your purpose. It means accepting that not everyone deserves to witness your process. The people who love you will not need constant access to believe in you. They will respect your silence, they will honor your boundaries, and they will understand that your absence doesn't mean distance. It means protection. Real peace doesn't scream for attention. It settles quietly inside those who know their worth. In a world obsessed with exposure, choosing to be private about your emotions, your struggles, your progress, and your plans is a rare kind of wisdom. It's not coldness, it's clarity. When you start to protect your energy, you begin to notice how many things you are doing out of habit, not alignment. You realize how often you shared just to feel seen, how often you explained just to feel understood, how often you performed just to feel accepted. But energy is sacred. It's the language of your soul. Every time you give a piece of it away to people who don't value it, you weaken your connection to yourself. Privacy becomes your filter, and silence becomes your healer. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to justify your peace. You don't have to explain your happiness or your distance. The more you try to maintain an image, the more you disconnect from your truth. Because image is built for others, but energy is built for you. When you live for your energy, you don't chase validation, you attract alignment, you no longer feel the need to prove who you are, you simply are. That is the power of protecting your energy. It brings you back home to yourself. Protecting your energy also means letting go of people who constantly drain you, even if you love them. Some connections become heavy because they demand more than they give. Some conversations leave you empty because they are rooted in judgment, not understanding. You have to learn that walking away doesn't make you cruel. It makes you conscious. You can love people from a distance without letting them disrupt your peace. You can wish them well without allowing them to disturb your energy. Boundaries aren't barriers, they're shields. They are the invisible lines that keep your spirit intact. The more you protect your energy, the less you depend on the approval of others. You begin to move differently. You speak less, you observe more, and you respond only when necessary. You stop needing to show your success. Your peace becomes your proof. You stop needing to share your pain. Your growth becomes your statement. Protecting your energy allows you to exist without explanation, to breathe without fear, to create without comparison. It gives you back the power you once gave away through constant exposure. Energy is your most valuable currency. It's what fuels your creativity, your confidence, your intuition, your purpose. When you spend it trying to maintain an image, you exhaust it. But when you spend it nurturing your inner world, you expand it. Protecting your energy means choosing silence when gossip invites you, choosing stillness when chaos tempts you, and choosing presence when distractions call your name. It's not about being unseen, it's about being untouched by noise. You were not created to perform, you were created to be, and being requires peace. It requires stillness. It requires the discipline to stay grounded even when the world demands your exposure. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's survival. Because the moment you stop giving your energy to everything that doesn't grow you, you start glowing from within, your power multiplies, your intuition strengthens, your confidence rebuilds itself from a place that no one else can reach. And that is the kind of strength that no image can ever replace. Privacy is the real freedom. There is a kind of freedom that cannot be bought, performed, or displayed. It can only be felt. It is the freedom that comes when you no longer need to explain yourself to anyone. When you no longer feel the pressure to prove that you are happy, successful, or doing fine. Privacy is that freedom. It's the quiet space where you exist without the need for validation. In a world that glorifies exposure, choosing to be private becomes a radical act of self-love. It's choosing to live for peace instead of performance, for fulfillment instead of attention. It's where you stop giving the world the right to narrate your story and start writing it for yourself, in silence, in truth, in power. When you stop sharing every detail of your life, something profound happens. You begin to breathe differently. You start to notice how light your spirit feels when it isn't being watched. You stop worrying about opinions, about expectations, about what people will think. You wake up not to impress but to evolve. You begin to realize that privacy is not loneliness, it's liberation. It's the space where you can grow without noise, heal without interruption, and transform without commentary. Freedom doesn't come from being seen, it comes from being understood by yourself. The more private you become, the more you begin to see how much of your energy was wasted on explaining, defending, and performing. You see how much peace you lost trying to control how others perceive you. Privacy teaches you detachment. It teaches you that you don't owe access to anyone. You can wish people well without telling them your plans. You can succeed without announcing it. You can struggle without broadcasting it. When you stop needing to be understood by everyone, you finally become free to be misunderstood by many. Because true freedom is not found in how the world sees you. It's found in how deeply you know yourself. Privacy also gives you the gift of clarity. When your life is quiet, your mind becomes clear. You start to hear your own intuition again, that soft inner voice that always knew the way but got drowned out by noise. You realize that not everyone who watches you wants to see you rise. Some are waiting for you to fall so they can feel better about their own stagnation. Privacy protects you from that. It creates a sacred distance between your life and their projection. It shields your growth from being contaminated by opinions that were never meant to shape you. When you move in silence, no one can interfere with your process. You evolve peacefully, without pressure, without expectation. The beauty of privacy is that it allows your journey to unfold naturally. You no longer need to rush your progress to keep up appearances. You don't have to fake smiles or pretend strength just to seem composed. You can feel your emotions deeply, heal at your own pace, and rebuild quietly. Privacy removes the audience from your transformation so that your healing becomes authentic. You don't owe the world your progress report. You owe yourself honesty. You owe yourself stillness. You owe yourself grace. Because when you keep your life private, you make room for peace to live there. Freedom also means no longer giving explanations for your boundaries. You don't need to justify why you keep certain things to yourself, why you walk away from some people, or why you no longer engage in certain conversations. Privacy teaches you to be unapologetic about protecting your peace. It reminds you that boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks that only you hold the key to. You decide who enters, how long they stay, and what energy they bring. That's the essence of real freedom, being selective with access, not out of pride, but out of preservation. When you live privately, you begin to realize that the best moments of your life are the ones that no one else knows about. The mornings you wake up in gratitude, the nights you cry yourself into peace, the quiet victories you celebrate alone. Those are the moments that build your character. They don't need witnesses to be real. They don't need likes to be valid. They are sacred because they are yours alone. Privacy allows your soul to collect these moments without them being diluted by validation. It reminds you that your life's value isn't determined by visibility, but by authenticity. Privacy gives you control over your narrative. It allows you to decide what to reveal and what to protect. It's not about hiding, it's about choosing wisely. Because once you expose something, you can't take it back. Once the world has access, it will always have opinions, and opinions have a way of poisoning purity. That's why sacred things grow in silence: dreams, healing, faith, and love. They require protection. They require privacy, not because they are fragile, but because they are powerful. And power doesn't need to announce itself. It simply exists. When you stop seeking attention, you start attracting peace. You stop needing to be visible because you realize that being grounded feels better than being seen. Privacy gives you a new kind of confidence, the kind that comes from within, not from applause. You walk differently when you know that your peace isn't up for public debate. You love differently when you realize that intimacy is not about display, but about depth. You work differently when your goals are guarded by silence instead of being scattered through words. Privacy allows you to be free from the weight of performance, from the pressure of perfection, from the expectations of the crowd. In a world where everyone is busy sharing, updating, and proving, privacy becomes your quiet rebellion. It's how you rise without noise, how you build without distraction, how you heal without spectacle. It's where you remember that your life doesn't need to be consumed to be meaningful, because the real freedom doesn't come from being known. It comes from being at peace with staying unknown.